Hello and welcome to this tutorial, and in this tutorial we are going to learn how you could add a simple image to your libgdx project. So in this tutorial we are going to write some code which is going to display an image onto the device whenever we are developing the libgdx game. So in the previous tutorial we have already learned how we could set up some text onto the screen. So basically this thing right here was the code for our previous tutorial. Now what we want to do is that we want to actually make a basic, or we could say a generalized structure, which we are going to use for each and every tutorial from here. So the first thing which you need to do is that you need to delete this font object, and that is because we are not going to be needing it, and you need to actually keep this sprite batch object, and because we are going to need this in the future tutorials. And also delete the contents of the create, and make sure that you have the batch in there, and because batch is actually going to be used. And also inside the dispose method we are going to delete this font.dispose, and inside here, which is the render method, we are again going to delete the font. So as you could see, this is the basic structure which we are going to use while developing games in our app, while developing games in each and every tutorial. So basically we have the create method, the dispose method, and the render method, and we simply have only one object, which is a sprite batch object. So basically it is going to be used in each and every tutorial, so we make sure that we have it. And now let's get started with the main tutorial. And now let's go ahead and learn how we could add and use images while developing games. So the first thing which we'll need to do is that we'll need to import an image into our project. So actually I have already added one image onto the desktop. So this thing right here is an image of a flower. So I simply right click it, copy the image, return back to Android Studio, and as you could see we have two folders. First one is the Android and the next one is the core folder, and the core folder is actually going to consist of core, which is platform independent. But as we want to add an image, we switch to this Android folder right here, and inside this folder we have one more folder which is called as the assets folder. So we simply right click on this assets folder and we paste the image, and let's name this image as, let's say, flower.png, then hit OK, and as you could see that our image has been added to the project. Now the next thing which we need to do is that we need to use this image in our project. So in order to do that, first we need to create a variable. So the first thing which we'll need to do is that we need to declare this image as a texture, and later on we need to convert it into a sprite. So in order to do that, we go right here and we declare the texture. So we type private texture, and to this we give a name as image, and that is because we'll be passing our image to it. Then we create a sprite, and a sprite is basically used whenever we want to convert or whenever we want to display an image. So basically first we need to take the image, which is nothing but the texture, and then we need to convert it into the sprite. So let's go ahead and declare the sprite. So we type private sprite, and let's name it as sprite. So once we have these things with us, we go inside the create method, which is right here, and we go ahead and we get a reference to our image. So we type image, which is equal to new, and as this is a texture, we type texture, and then we specify the name of our image, which is flower.png. So as you could see, we have a reference to the image. Now the next thing which we need to do is that we need to convert this image into the sprite, and finally we need to display the sprite. So we type sprite equals new sprite, and to this we pass in the texture, and the name of our texture is image. So we pass in image here, and this is actually going to convert the image into a sprite, and finally we could use this sprite to be displayed on our screen. So once this is done, we also need to make sure that we dispose of the image after usage, or we are going to have memory leaks. So we go inside dispose right over here, and we type img.dispose. So once it is disposed, we are done. And the final thing which we need to do is that we need to draw this sprite onto our screen. So we go between this begin and end, and then we type sprite.draw, and inside this we pass in the batch. So once everything is done, we are good to go. So we save the code and we run our code onto our device. So as you could see, our image has been loaded onto the screen. So we have an image of a flower on the screen, and it is placed right at the bottom. That is because we have not specified the coordinates, so by default it is going to display it at the bottom. So that's how you add an image to your screen in case of libgdx. So basically we cannot directly add in the image to our screen. The first thing which we need to do is that we need to convert it into a texture, and we need to pass in the texture to convert it into a sprite, and the sprite is finally going to display the image on the screen. So thank you very much for watching this tutorial, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Thank you.